This episode of the AI Inside Podcast is brought to you by Airia. Get started for free today at airia.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the AI Inside Podcast, the show where we take a look at the AI that is layered throughout so much of the world of technology. And yes, I am no longer in the garage. That doesn't mean the bathroom is done, though. ... I'm one of your hosts, Jason Howell, joined as always by Jeff Jarvis, my friend in the world of AI. I wish I could say the bathroom. It is what it is.
You just froze for me.
Uh-oh. Okay. Am I back?
You're back now. So sorry. I didn't mean to. Should we do it again?
That's okay. Bathroom not done in my studio, thankfully, because there's no one upstairs, hammering away and installing things. So
yeah, we're good for now. We know the truth. He finally apologized enough. They let him back in the house.
Okay, we're going to actually close the loop on something a little bit later. You were talking last episode about how I should do the podcast from the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And it's just a little bit of a tease, but that's going to happen.
Jason's going to be on the throne.
Maybe not that throne, but
I want to start off for a minute. Yeah. I just want to thank Airia, our first sponsor in this way, as a direct sponsor. And I have nothing to do with this, but I'm just really grateful, and I think it's great, and we're growing. So thank you, Airia.
Yay.
And others may follow.
I love it. No, I'm super thrilled. For those of you who have the ad version of the feed, who are outside of the Patreon anyways, we do have an actual sponsor that comes outside of the sponsor kind of network that we've been working with before. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have Airia on board. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about it later. Thank you, Jeff, for calling that out. Before we get into everything, I thought I'd just mention real quick. So ahead of everything, this is going to be a real hands-on episode because we've got definitely some things to show and tell. And I thought I'd start with something that isn't newsy at all, but it's something that I'm kind of proud of, and I'm curious to hear what you think of this, Jeff. Have you ever heard of N8N?
I had not, no.
Okay. Well, what the heck is N8N? Well, N8N, and I can pull it up for video viewers to kind of get a sense of the landing page and everything. It's an open source automation tool. And it's all about creating custom workflows, connecting different apps, different services together. It does run locally. So when we talk about local AI and open source AI and stuff, you can do that with N8N. I can install the models locally on my machine as I have N8N installed on my machine. And so it runs locally. It can reach out to external systems, so you can set it up so that it reaches out, like in this example, out to Slack or Jira or Anthropic as the AI model. I've set it up so that it's connected to my ChatGPT account, but you could really do this in any way, shape, or form. So essentially, my understanding of it, and mind you, I only installed this yesterday, and it was a process, let me tell you, but I finally figured it out, is that as my needs kind of develop for me, like say I have an idea to do this thing, I would then get an understanding of what are the services or the apps or whatever that I want to connect into in order to achieve that thing. Make sure that I'm connected into those things via the APIs and my tokens, and that carries a cost with it. As we've talked about, a lot of these AI services, when you're connecting via API, it costs tokens to actually use these services. So that's part of the realm if I'm reaching out to these services. And then given I've built my kind of workflow properly, I can just hit go and it'll do this automation through any number of these services and create an output or, do an action at the end of it. And so it's really powerful.
So I was talking with a former student of mine named Joe Amditas, who works at Montclair State University, where I'm a fellow at the Center for Cooperative Media, and he's doing a lot of work with local news organizations with AI. Mm-hmm. And so he believes in Zapier and uses it for a lot of these functions to help them do things. So I went to the internet thing, and I asked about Zapier versus N8N. and it sounds like N8N is the graduate version of Zapier.
I could say in my short amount of time of working with it, that would be true, because like this is my instance, right? This is my N8N app running on my machine, and I hit the plus. It goes, okay, so what is the trigger? It probably works very similar to Zapier in that sense. Is like, what do you want to do? How do you connect these services in? Zapier probably just makes it a lot cleaner, a lot easier for everyday person to drop into. This requires a lot more definition around how it does things.
Yeah. So what Gemini said is that you use Zapier if you want to move fast, if you're non-technical, if you want quick value, access to a vast ecosystem of pre-built integrations, and your cost is predictable. Use N8N if you require deep customization, you have technical resources, you want data privacy because you're operating locally, you need to process lots of data, and you want lots of flexibility. So this is kind of a business enterprise version. We're seeing a lot of this, a lot of ways to tie things together.
Yeah.
I'm having a senior moment. You and I interviewed a company early on in the podcast where you could.
Oh yeah, Mind Studio.
Thank you, Mind Studio. How would you compare N8N to Mind Studio?
Well, it's a great question. I haven't had a whole lot of direct experience with Mind Studio, but it kind of sounds like they walk in different places, except for the fact that I would guess, anyways, I could be wrong, but Mind Studio is a service off in the cloud that manages the instance and the connections in the cloud. N8N, like I said, is in this case it's working on my machine.
Okay, that's clear. Yeah, all right.
I had to go to I went to Cloudflare and created a domain and connected that into N8N so that it could reach out into the internet, so that I could access it through my domain that I set up. And so that is possible to do those things, but it's really all about my understanding, anyways. Because again, I'm learning this as I go. Right. Is that this is kind of installed on my own machine, and any of the like hooks outward have to really be set up and defined. And some of the UI probably, this is a very easy one. This is an RSS feed trigger. So like one of the things that I would, be interested in doing is setting up some sort of automation around the tech meme RSS feed. So I could pop that into there, fetch a test event, and it would take a look at the RSS feed and at least let me know if there's something there, is my understanding. I feel like it would pull it back faster, but anyways, and that's just one of the components, right? And then I would add another component. What do I want to do next? Maybe I want it to go to ChatGPT. Let's see here, OpenAI chat model, or maybe that's not the right one, but I'll just click it right now. And then I can select which model I want, which apparently my credential is not set up. So I've got more work to do. But anywa's, so there's a lot for me to figure out.
You have to have accounts on any of these LLMs, and because you're going to get billed, it's going to be billed back to you for the tokens you're using.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Unless I'm also imagining that I could install a lot of kind of the open source local models and tap into that. I'd still have to kind of set up the hooks on how it reaches in there. And sometimes my brain is just, this stuff doesn't come completely naturally to me.
This is pretty ambitious, Jason. This is pretty ambitious.
It's pretty, I suppose it is, but it kept coming up. Honestly, Dr. Do, who is one of our executive producers, he, in our Patreon, he had been going off on N8N in the AI Inside Discord for quite a while and just saying, this is what I'm using it for. He's a power user.
Dr. Do is a pro,
He's a super pro when it comes to this stuff. And that's obvious when you kind of read what he's writing about these things. He's thought about these things and he's worked with them so much that it probably comes a lot easier to him than it definitely does to me. I open this up and I'm like, oh my goodness, have I gotten myself in over my head? But this is kind of how you learn.
It's great.
Right?
It's great that you're learning how to use this stuff and trying it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see where I get. Like when I think about certain workflows that would be useful to me, like it would be really nice to set something up where it searches tech meme on the morning of the show, let's say, or every morning or whatever, and finds all the things that have really bubbled up to the top, in the world of AI, and creates for me a simple list so that I don't have to go hunting and pecking and finding. And maybe it gives me a short summary of each thing so that I can easily read through it and go, okay, that's important, that's interesting, and then that guides how I create the kind of rundown for the show. Or I don't know, it could go in a number of different directions. It's kind of your imagination can run wild with something like this. So
cool.
I don't know what it'll lead to, but I know it's interesting. And I know that by the way, twit.tv just did a Club Twit kind of workshop. I think it's like an AI user group workshop that they do every once in a while.
Right.
And they actually had Dr. Do on to show off N8N. And so there's a lot of really good information there. You don't have to be a member of the club in order to get that anymore. You can go to the twit.tv YouTube channel and find it. They published it a couple of days ago. And so that might give, those of you curious, an inside look at how Dr. Do is using it and how you set up some of these things. I still need to go through the whole thing. Now that I've got it all set up, now I feel like, okay, I can spend some afternoons and really go through videos like that and get a better understanding of it.
And our friend Daniel Croft, who's another big helpmate for us, says that he loves N8N. So
yes. Yeah, Daniel. I work with Daniel regularly on promotion for this show. So Daniel, I'm sure there's there's probably pieces of what you're doing for this show that involve N8N. I'm not sure. We'll have to talk about that next time we chat. But yeah, it's flexible. It's a tool set that you use your imagination. You can come up with some cool things. And I'm curious to know for the fans of this show, for those of you watching and listening, if you are using something like N8N, contact at aiinside.show. Share what you're doing with it. I'd love to kind of get a better understanding of how people are using this. And, again, recognizing that it's very easy to go into the weeds. So if it's possible to simplify so that we can easily explain it on the show and get a better understanding, then that would be great. Contact at aiinside.show.
And there may be kind of a trend in the show here, as tends to happen, is that I think that some of the stories we're going to talk about in a few minutes, both ChatGPT and Google are doing things that I wouldn't say directly compete with N8N, but try to take on some of this functionality where you're trying to build in these multiple acts together.
Yep. Absolutely. I think 100%. As we've said many times, we do these as we put these shows together, these like general themes seem to define the show. And today definitely has
by chance,
that theme.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's not planned at all. It just kind of works out that way. So that's N8N. More to come on that as I understand it more. And again, let me know if you understand it and you can help us understand it. And, maybe we'll get Dr. Do on because, if he was willing to go on Twit, maybe he'd be willing to come on to our show for a special episode and we can kind of be like, all right, I have it. Now what? You know what I mean? Like that would be really useful for me. And I'm sure it would be useful for a lot of you too. So not to put more work on you, Dr. Do, you're already supporting us and we do appreciate that,
grateful.
But I'll be in touch. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of these things that are happening in the news front and that are definitely related. We can start with OpenAI. Had their dev day. Is it just a single day or is it a whole week? I'm not really quite sure.
It was a pretty quick one, but it was.
It was just Tuesday.
All folks like you and me care about is the keynote anyway. So, what are they showing off? What are they proudest of?
Yeah, totally. And this is OpenAI's, big developer conference, obviously, Dev Day. Lots of developer-y news shared at the event. Of note, OpenAI launched an SDK that turns ChatGPT into an app front-end platform. So again, kind of similar in ways to what we were just talking about with N8N. Imagine apps like Zillow, Canva, Spotify, Expedia. Those are all launch partners, by the way. Integrating the service into the ChatGPT chat interface. And as you can, if you're watching the video version, you can kind of see their little promo video that kind of shows this. But it's about, reaching out for the information, integrating that information back into the chat interface and making it, kind of easy to understand when it does that. It's there have been times where I'm working with chat interfaces and I wanted to do this thing and it comes back as if it can, but then it's like, well, actually, you need to go to the site and here's the steps that you follow in order to do that thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it would be cool if it could do it for me. This is doing it for you.
It's kind of like turtles all the way down. It's agents all the way down. And I can see you using N8N to go to ChatGPT, to in turn go to Zillow, to then do something,
Right.
and then add something else back on it. So you're kind of using an agent upon an agent.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think it gets potentially pretty complicated and confusing on, on how all this gets set up, but it seems to be, to me, as a user of these services who's working really hard to understand them on a deeper level, this is all in service of the user getting what they want easier and faster and with less effort, less need to do the nerdy things like set up an N8N instance or whatever.
So last week on Intelligent Machines, we interviewed Riza Martin, who's the co-founder of Hux. She was one of the original dev teams for Notebook LM. And she doesn't say what platforms, what model she uses to enable Hux. But I asked toward the end, I said, oh, how hard is it to switch from one model to another? And she said, like half an hour, which really interested me. The more I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, these models are in trouble if they can't come up with some glue to hold on to you, because
Right.
you're on, ChatGPT 5.0, and then Gemini comes up with something better, and you say, okay, switch. And
Yeah.
I thought that'd be difficult, and she said, no, easy.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed with the more that I've used ChatGPT, like I've noticed my usage of Perplexity dropping and that I'm using ChatGPT more. And part of the glue that brings me there more often now is the fact that the more I use it, the more it really does kind of have a better understanding of what I'm looking for. I don't have to explain things as deeply for it to know like what I normally am looking for when I ask a question like that. And that in use actually is very useful.
And now, well, it'll be interesting too. So on the one hand, ChatGPT is using, it's MCP, right? That's what it's called, the protocol that lets you
Yeah,
connect
model
to
context protocol.
Thank you. Model context MCP. Yeah, I got it right. So on the one hand, it argues that I saw arguments online that ChatGPT was trying to become more of a walled garden. But on the other hand, if it's using MCP and MCP is a standard, that you have a hook into Zillow on ChatGPT, and you can instead use a hook into Zillow from Gemini or from Perplexity if it's a standard. So it'll be really interesting how this ecosystem develops. I've said often on the show, and I still believe that the real action on generative AI is going to be on the app layer more than on the foundation model layer. But you then become dependent upon the foundation model.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. There's a bunch of, we don't have to go super deep into all the announcements, but just to kind of detail some of them, developers can create apps that integrate, like we mentioned, that integrate into ChatGPT. That was one of them. Also introduced AgentKit, which is a simplified graphical user interface for creating specialized chatbots. So, this is kind of actually similar. I wish I had a screenshot to show you other than this, but similar in some ways, if you're watching the video version, to what I was showing with N8N, right? It's a drag and drop building block style interface. They call that ChatKit, and has, different pre-built widgets that you can pull in, information sources to pull from, workflow testing, tools for measurement, all that kind of stuff for developers to kind of build with no code once again, Lots of no code going on. And then speaking of code, of course, Codex now generally available. So actually, I guess more widely available, let's say. A few new enhancements, Slack integration, so you can get your team collaboration going on. Codex SDK for embedding agents into engineering workflows. This is the SDK for Slack that we're showing right here. And then, administration tools, environmental control, analytics, all that kind of stuff, and is going to introduce usage-based pricing October 20th. And the reason I throw that in there is because now that I'm playing around with N8N, that means a lot more to me. Usage-based pricing. Suddenly, the $20 a month that I pay for ChatGPT might not matter as much if I'm integrating, ChatGPT tools into N8N. I moved to kind of like a cost for, tokens.
Is that on top of the
that sort of
$20 a
stuff.
month, or is that instead of the $20 a month?
No, I think that's on top of it. Again, still learning. People can correct me if I'm wrong,
Right.
but I don't know that the $20 per month necessarily includes those hooks. I think I have to pay for those because they sit outside of the ChatGPT environment that's on the web. I think what I'm paying for is the web-based version, is my understanding, with the $20 a month.
It's interesting too, on the other end
be
of this
wrong.
business model, if you're Canva, you want someone to have a paid account.
Yeah.
If you're Zillow, because you're ad-based, you want people to freely use you, right? So the hooks have different business models depending upon what you're hooking into in the other
Yes.
apps.
Totally. And that's what I'm up against. And Daniel Croft in chat just, kind of confirmed that the API is paid separate. So it's outside of the cost that I'm already paying. So then in essence, if I'm building up these systems and I wanted to go to ChatGPT to do this thing, then I wanted to go to Runway to do this thing, whatever, I have to have credits purchased on each of those places in order to fulfill that. So that is an extra cost. I'll be curious to see what that actually means from like a monetary standpoint as I use these things more.
Yeah, I wonder how much. So both N8N and Mind
Studio.
Studio allow you to tie up activities of multiple LLMs, right?
Yep.
What I don't have my head around is how differentiated they really are. Oh, I'm going to use ChatGPT for this. I'm going to use Gemini for that. I'm going to use Perplexity for this. I'm going to use Meta for that.
Right.
How valuable that is versus tying out through MCP to other apps. I feel the need for a whiteboard because I'm trying to rethink the stack.
Yeah.
We're entering a world of a new stack now. And there are these integration tools on top that let you combine existing apps to models in all kinds of new ways. I'm getting a headache. I need an exception.
No, it is confusing. Totally. It's totally confusing. That's part of the reason why I really wanted to do it. Cause I'm like, I feel like I'm missing a piece of the puzzle here.
Yeah.
And I also recognize that I continue to put off setting up N8N because of my perception of how complicated it was going to be to set it up. I was like, well, maybe that's a good reason to actually do it then.
Yeah.
So,
God bless. Pat yourself on the back.
So anyway, we'll find out. I might still throw my hands in the air and wave them because I just don't care anymore. I don't know. We'll find out. And then also agentic commerce protocol is another aspect. Instant checkout scenarios, details to come there. But that really reminded me of Google's agent payment protocol from last month. And I think what this is all about is really laying the groundwork for agents that don't always need to check in order to execute things like financial transactions, for better or for worse. So, I think the foundation is being laid there as far as that's concerned.
Yep.
And then, and I didn't really read through this Financial Times story about OpenAI and Jony Ive. I don't know that this is necessarily related directly to Dev Day, other than to say that they're working on hardware, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculative stuff going on. People are getting little tiny, not even leaks, but hints. And the main story that came out from a few places this week was, I think, trying to set us up for delay in whatever it is they're creating. My guess, I think the standard guess is it's a non-phone phone. It's a blob that you have on you that communicates with multiple things in some wonderfully easy way that knows you. We'll get to that one.
Is it?
No, I think Jony Ive's going to make a better design than the rabbit. But whatever problems they're having, they're hinting at delays. So I don't know when we're going to see that.
Setting expectations. Look, you're not going to get this anytime soon.
Yep.
Yes, we're working on some things. We want you to be excited. Now we're not just telling you we're working on a thing. We're working on multiple things, but it's going to be a while.
Yep.
So just wait. You've got Jony Ive champing at the bit to show you what the next evolution in mobility is. So Yeah, interesting stuff there. Well, that is OpenAI in a nutshell. We are going to talk about OpenAI on the other side of the break, because I do have my wife's iPad with Sora 2 installed on it.
Whoa.
And that's kind of been a big deal. And we got some show and tell to do there. I've got a couple of, like, I think, important questions to ask, what you think about, what this means for the future of creativity and creators and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff. We've got a lot planned, so don't go anywhere. First of all, just want to throw a huge thank you to our patrons, patreon.com/AI Inside Show. We've got some amazing patrons this week. Want to thank Mike Reiser, Steve Remington, Logan. Y'all are awesome. I think I put up the wrong lower third, but that's okay. I got your names in there. Mike Reiser, Steve Remington, Logan, you are great. And everyone who supports us on the Patreon are awesome. Patreon.com/AI Inside Show. If you want to throw your support behind what we're doing, we really would appreciate it. It would be amazing to have your support. So thank you for that. All right. Well, let's take a quick break and thank the sponsor of this episode of AI Inside. We are just absolutely thrilled to have Airia on board. So Airia folks, thank you for your trust in our show. If you're feeling AI anxiety, a lot of people are feeling AI anxiety, from questions to job security to cybersecurity, everything in between. It's easy to feel overwhelmed with the rate of AI innovation. We talk about it all the time. And let's be honest, without the right systems in place, AI adoption can feel risky. Well, enter Airia, the enterprise AI orchestration and security platform that's built to boost your confidence. And with Airia, you don't have to compromise between speed and innovation or security and governance. It's enterprise grade by design. It's built to help you deploy AI fast, but with the compliance, oversight, and security controls your team actually needs. And you can quickly deploy AI without cutting corners on compliance. You can give your teams the confidence to adopt AI with Airia. Don't let fear be the blocker. Let Airia handle the heavy lifting so your team can actually focus on what AI does best. And that's unlocking real innovation, kind of like we were talking about earlier today. Are you ready to eliminate your AI anxiety? Visit airia.com to get started for free today. That's airia.com. And you can get started. And we just want to give a huge thank you to Airia for supporting us and sponsoring this episode of the AI Inside podcast. We're happy to have you guys on board, and we'll be talking about you more throughout the month. So thank you, Airia. Okay, we are going to take a break as well. We're going to catch our breath and get ready for Sora on the other side of it. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll talk a little bit about the Sora app coming up. All right, so let's see here. First things first, I want to throw a huge thank you to Anthony Downs. He is a Patreon supporter. Heard my call for Sora, for an invite to the Sora app. Sent one my way, and then I promptly went out of town for the weekend with the family, and so I wasn't able to actually do anything with it until this morning. And so he's like, "Did you get it? Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got it. I'm sorry. Life's just been crazy." So I finally got it installed on my wife's iPad because, as people may or may not know, I'm all about Android. That's what I do. Your Android as well.
It's his middle name.
It's kind of my thing. And so anyways, finding an iOS device to install this app on, because it is only iOS for now anyways, was a little challenging, but I was able to do it. I got it on my my wife's iPad. So before the show, I asked Jeff to give me a prompt before showtime. I said, "Hey, send me a prompt. I want to create a video that is, a video created around what you are prompting." And he gave me a wonderful prompt. Jason hosts a podcast in his luxurious new bathroom. I haven't even watched it yet. And I hope that the volume is loud here, but and then we can talk about how it did this. So here we go. We're gonna watch it.
Welcome back to Home Tech Talk. I'm recording from a brand new spot today, my freshly remodeled bathroom. I never thought I'd be saying that, but the acoustics in here are surprisingly warm, and it gives me a chance to show off the work we just finished. We got this. Welcome back to Home Tech Talk.
Oh my God. The voice is so not right.
The voice is way wrong.
Hello, I'm Jason Howell.
This is my radio voice.
I'm podcasting from the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know what I did
give it
wrong
voice?
there.
Did it have a sample of your voice?
Yes. So how it sets up is, God, I don't know. I probably don't want to. Well, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, hey, if it doesn't work, that's fun too. Edit Cameo. I've got my permissions, so who can use this? This is my Cameo that I set
very
up.
important. Okay.
Right. So right now I got it set up for everyone. So, be careful. Now you can go in here, how I appear to others, pronouns, right? Cameo preferences. So I can say what I don't allow. So I've got no politics, hate speech, racism, sexual stuff, drugs, crime. Those are things that I'm like, what else should I have here, actually? Am I missing anything really important? Like, I was like, what are the things that I should have in here that I definitely don't want?
You just can't anticipate. So I was on TikTok, and I
can't anticipate. That's true.
I got Pope Slop. There was an account that was the Pope will. It wasn't saying it was the Pope. It was saying virtual Pope will pray for you. But it was Slop kind of headache, and I tried to report it because I think this is wrong, and I know that the Pope has said he doesn't want this. So. But I couldn't report it because on TikTok, you can only report an impersonation if the person who's being impersonated has an account. And the Pope doesn't have an account. So I couldn't report it. But anyway, I think we're going to see a lot of this for just general impersonation. And you don't know what somebody's going to do with you.
It's true. It's true. Well, and so I'm guessing, or at least my understanding is that if someone did a cameo of me, it would appear like I would have access to it, right? So any cameos done of me, I believe so. I think that I can.
So what did you have to do? Did you have to do like a perp walk thing?
Yeah. So edit cameo. Obviously, this is a portion of the kind of training data. What it is, let's see here. Retake, start recording, and say the numbers on the screen. This is gonna be kind of hard because I don't know how I do this in show. Oh boy, I don't envision this is going to be any better, and I'm going to cover the camera. Dang, maybe this will be good enough. Maybe we'll see. 76, 37, 82. Left.
We're seeing Jason's hair turn left and turn right.
Sorry,
it's okay.
37, 82. All right, and so then it takes. Yeah, it's so weird. This is going to be so weird because it's angled.
It's got the cans on. It's going to be really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. I probably could have just
Mickey
tilted
Mouse.
it and been better.
This is fine. This is really funny. You want to do it again? You can do it again. I don't care.
All right, so it's processing. Okay, maybe. Oh, I see. Keep uploading. Okay, so anyways, I'll vamp. We couldn't verify your head moves. Okay, so I have to redo it. So let's see here then. So then, okay, this is better anyways. You can kind of see it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
59, 62, 24. The headphones might be throwing it off as well. 62, 24. I do wonder about that.
I like it. You're going to be Mickey Mouse in these things. It'll be fun.
Anyways, it takes a couple of minutes to set up. We'll check in on it once it does. I can't really leave this thing. But, part of the app is this. This isn't the whole thing, isn't just, setting up your cameo, as they call it. But that is a big part of it is, and I'm like equally terrified and equally like totally excited about it. It's really weird. It's like I'm interested and curious to see how I suddenly appear in things that I wouldn't have imagined before. At the same time, I'm also a little hesitant about like training it on my face and putting it out there and just going, okay.
I'm very. My life is an open blog. I've been out there for 20 years online. I have no problem with any of that. I've talked about my prostate and my penis, for God's sakes. I can't be more public than that. But I don't really want anybody, having had a bad impersonator, I don't want anybody mucking around with my identity.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much into everything. That's my freak line.
That's your line.
That's our
yeah.
line.
No, I
Yep,
get it.
nope.
And so when I was setting it up, I was like, do I lock it down to only certain people, or do I, for science, open it up
Yeah, I
and
know.
see
I know.
and put in,
Yep.
hopefully put in some guardrails, that are actually effective. But as we talk about, guardrails are never fully effective. Okay, so I've created it. Now it's done. Again, I could guide. Oh, see, my restrictions went away.
Oh,
Okay, well, I'll set that up in a bit.
you could just put mutuals. Yeah, that's safer.
Yeah, I'll just put mutuals. Okay. So anyways, so we've got the Jason podcasting from a bathroom.
How long?
And
the
then I
video
did one
is
with
that?
my.
With the
What's that?
How long is the video with the bathroom?
How long does it say?
Back to home tech talk.
Yeah, the voice is freaky.
Hello. Yeah, this is.
It's like,
Everyone looks so excited in it too. Like,
listen, Jason has a smaller head.
oh god, it's so weird. And then this is, I don't know. I think it's like 8 seconds or 10
Okay,
seconds,
all right.
maybe tops. Big thank you to Ozone Nightmare, who gave us a super thanks, $10. Watching Jason contort himself in an attempt to train on AI model that will sound like a bad animatronic version of the real thing is worth watching this show for. Is the end result worth this effort? We're certainly about to find out. Thank you.
You made it
Ozone.
more worth it, Ozone. Thank you.
Let's see my dog video. This was my dog not being very happy while I podcast.
Branson, buddy. I know those eyes mean walk time, but I have to record an episode of the AI Inside podcast. It'll just be an hour, and then we can hit the park, all right? I promise. Be a good boy while I work. I'll bring you a treat
that's
after.
right.
Okay, Branson, buddy. I know those eyes mean walk time, but I have to record
It's so weird seeing yourself like this. It's so weird seeing myself like this.
It's uncanny valley
I
time
don't
because it's not enough
Totally.
to be you, but it's just
It's
close
yeah,
enough.
Totally. It's uncanny valley.
Yeah.
It's just not quite like. Probably anyone who is used to watching me on video would know that that's a version of me, but would also know that that's actually not me.
It's like separated at birth. Yeah.
Right. And then the other part is, of course, the social feed.
Yes, great.
Actually, this is Tony. This is the I think this is the guy that gave me the invite code.
Oh,
They said I should slow down. I said watch me.
So,
Fastest wheels in the whole
all right. So the whole app is laid out like TikTok, right?
All right, here we go. Stay light, stay quick. Whoa, too close, too close. Keep moving. Watch the wheel, watch the wheel. Bicycle, duck.
All of these were done in the same way that I created. There's a South Park thing apparently. Okay, and I don't want to go down.
everybody's
down,
using
down
the Sam
rabbit
Altman.
hole. Oh yeah, because Sam Altman. Wow, Sam Altman as a kid.
You got gray hair.
All right, so it's TikTok, and actually this is a great way to put it. Who is it? I saw a video. Casey Neistat posted a video called "The All AI TikTok Clone Will Slop End Creativity," and of course he's not alone. He's not the only creator going, "Oh my goodness, what is this?" Concerned about the impact on their livelihood. MrBeast, you had an article in there about MrBeast, expressing concerns, calling it scary times for creators.
Which is amusing because basically Mr. Beast made a whole business out of making his own original slop, and now he's concerned about slop.
I mean, when it starts to come for you, then yeah. Like his livelihood, his 80 some odd $1 million a year livelihood. I don't want to, I don't want to talk him down because he legitimately figured something out and it's working for him. So congrats on that. But yeah, I mean, and here's the discussion that I think I want to have about this, or the real question that I have. What does this actually mean for creativity? Because I think both things can exist. I think that the human conversation, the human creativity of a YouTube where somebody fires up a camera and shares their actual legitimate human thoughts, I think that can exist alongside an app that is entirely AI driven, because this is entertaining as well. This doesn't replace my desire to watch someone who really knows their stuff talking about music production or something. This is just a different way to waste time in my mind.
Yeah, but it uses real identity. That's the latest. That's the Sora thing here, and not even real identity. We're looking at one which is
Like Mario.
Super
Mario.
So it's using character identity, which I'm sure that the creators aren't going to be happy about.
Right.
But I like creativity. I love creativity, right? I wrote a class in AI and creativity. And by the way, somebody came to me and said, I saw you talking about your class, and can you share, professor, can you share the syllabus so I can teach a similar class? And I thought, great, yay, let's spread this. So it's wonderful if it's used in the service of your own expression. Point
Right.
one. So I think that's the important thing. Point two is if it's not used at someone's expense. So using unauthorized impressions, I think, is a problem. And then point three is the issue of credibility. And ever since the photographer, the camera, we've debated about whether we know reality. So it's nothing new there. This has been going through this a long time. But just today, I saw a video on TikTok, because I do, as you can tell, I use TikTok a lot. And it was, oops, turn down the volume, Jeff. And I can't play this one because it was Kamala Harris saying about the other side, these MFers, and she spelled out the word, are crazy. And so I said to my wife's really good at the socials, and she sees stuff all around. She sees it before I do. And I said, did you see anything about Kamala Harris using the MF spelled out? And she said, no. And so I showed her the video, and we both looked at the lips carefully. And, it's a video there. Since it's not spelled out there, I can safely show it, right? And then it had reaction shots of people shocked. And it looks real, but now I can't know. Was it a really good slop that somebody got her to say that? And in politics, that's going to be dangerous. And I'm not going to have a freak out about deepfakes, but we're going to have to come up with institutions. I don't mean organizations, I mean agreements, norms, so we can have a little bit of signaling of what's real and what's not. And what the signal we had before is Jason put his face behind this. Jason said this. I know Jason. And if Jason said this, it's okay. And I can tell it's Jason because I know Jason. Oh, no. Right now, you're safe because that guy is not you. But pretty soon, Jason's going to say things, and I'm not going to sure it's Jason unless I get you on the phone and I say, Jason, was that you?
Yeah, right. No, I think this. God, what is that HBO show that came out not too long ago? That is it wasn't a show; it was a movie of the tech folk. We talked about it on the show briefly, where they were up in the house, in the woods, and I continue to think about that. The name will come to me, and if it doesn't, it'll come to our folks who are watching. I continue to think about that, and the kind of one of the plot lines of that show was Mountainhead. There you go. Very good.
Thank you, Google.
I highly recommend people check it out. If you're interested in this part of the conversation, because it envisions a not too distant future where exactly what you're talking about, where the fake social web, let's say, or the easy creation of AI deepfakes and the easy proliferation of that content spread on the internet in real time makes for a utter confusion in the hands of everybody on the receiving end. Nothing is trustable anymore. And if that's the case, people are misinterpreting and reacting in very violent ways to things that probably didn't occur. But it's such a good fake, and it's such a wide scale spread thing that those misinterpretations, those misunderstandings become actionable in a way that has real life threatening consequences. And when I watched that movie, I was like, oh, that could totally happen. I could see that happening. And this type of app kind of pushes you in that direction, except for the fact that everything in this app is known to be fake. There is nothing real in this app.
That's true, but you can do a screenshot of this stuff. You can put it up there. You can have the character do something bad, and you can share that.
Yeah.
So I've mentioned having this impersonator, and no, I'm not going to mention who it is because he's a jerk and he's not funny. But I had a case where he was attacking a very, very well-known economist whom I had met, and he was doing it under what would appear to be my identity. And if he'd gone to the profile and if he dug deep enough, he would have seen a signal that was a little bit off because the guy was not responsible about that. Well, the guy had a fit about it and attacked me. And I went to him and I explained, and I said, no, that's not me. That's not, he apologized and everything was okay between him and me. But if I hadn't seen that, if I hadn't known, he could be going all around saying, this Jarvis is a real jerk.
Yep.
The only reason I saw it was because it was public enough that I had the opportunity. So, in the Web We Weave, I wrote about I asked in my research, what did people do before print for authenticity and authority? I don't know if I talked about this in the show before, but FAMA, have I talked about FAMA before?
Doesn't ring a bell.
FAMA, it's Latin for it is said, is the root of words like fame and infamy. And it was a social system of authority that if the innkeeper in town knew everybody who came through town and got the stories right, and you trusted the innkeeper because she cared about her reputation, she maintained her fama. Whereas the traveling salesman, he's a jerk and he always makes crap up, and he had bad fama. He had infamy. And so people cared about the maintenance of their reputations, of their fama, for credibility, whether you were the subject of the story, the object of the story, the spreader of the story, the originator of the story. You all cared about that. Well, that's what we're returning to today, is we need human interaction to the effect that we can verify things and say, yeah, I know Jason, and Jason wouldn't recommend the rabbit unless it really worked.
Yeah, call forward to probably 60 seconds from now. Yeah, that's interesting. God, is there a point at which that becomes more important than the immediate, oh my God, check out what I'm doing in that video? I think there's a lot of reaction right now to the next cool thing, which is, I can't believe I'm, because I remember feeling the same way when it was like face swaps were happening. And I got really like obsessed with face swaps on All About Android years ago. And I became the like face swap guy, because it's like, oh, here's another face swap app. Jason's going to think it's hilarious. And that's kind of evolved to where we are now. And yet the poll for me is the same every time. It's, oh my goodness, I'm witnessing myself doing something I didn't do, or it's kind of me, but it's not me. And there's something appealing to that. Like, is there a point at which that appeal takes a backseat to, oh yeah, but if I do that, it creates this whole host of problems that are actually really bad for society or humanity or whatever, And I wonder if we get there. I wonder if that happens. I don't know.
So
Curious.
I went back to the Kamala Harris and I looked at the comments, and people were just saying, I wish she'd said that when she was in the campaign. So I'm thinking, I'm a reporter, so I go about this. So I go to Google and I put in Kamala Harris and the F word spelled out. And indeed, there's like 3 different angles in the same video. So now I'm believing she said it.
Okay.
But it relies on us to do that much work.
Yeah. And some people are, and a lot of people aren't.
Most people won't. Well,
most people won't. Most people see, and their biases are confirmed the second they see the words on the screen. It kind of doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's like, yeah, that's how I believe. Therefore, I spread.
Yeah.
Spread that message.
Yeah, because a lot of the point is not about spreading facts or information. It is about signaling. Right? The example was the Haitian immigrants of Springfield, Ohio, are eating cats and dogs. I don't think people who said that believed that, in fact, there were cats and dogs being eaten. Saying it was a signal of belonging to that worldview. Right. And so you're used in the service of someone signaling for their belonging to a worldview. And so then, it doesn't matter what's true or not. It should be true, is the view.
God, will it matter in the future is the question. That's a big question. I don't think we're anywhere near the. No. Yes, this is matters.
This is in the end. It's about norms. It's about, and this has been true on the web. It's been true in social media. If you see something and you think it's too good to be true, it's upon each of us to say, where'd that come from? What's the source? How do you know that's true? I'm not sure I believe that. Prove to me that's true.
Yeah.
And if enough of us did that all the time, then people would be prepared for it and say, I know you're going to ask me, and let me tell you, I know it's true because I saw it personally. And my fama depends upon you believing me in the future, so I'm not going to lie. Or I went and I looked and I did research, or somebody I trust said it. But we don't have that norm in place now.
No, for sure we don't. So that's Sora. Very, very interesting stuff.
Yes, very interesting.
I will definitely
thank you for doing the demo again. That's great.
Yeah, totally. It's not on my personal device. Like I said, my personal device is an Android device. It's on my wife's tablet.
Is she going to play with it, you think?
I doubt it. No, she's probably never going to open it. But all that's to say right now, like I'm rate limited from that perspective.
All right, let me ask you another question. Would your daughters play with it?
Yeah, I think they would.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they would.
100%. And I can almost guarantee you kids at school are playing with it.
Yeah, and that goes back to the question of the limitation of it. All the kids at school aren't going to have Sora. And if your daughter creates a brilliant video with it, she's going to want to show it to other people. She's going to find a way to do that.
I mean, it was just a couple of weeks ago that my daughter was telling me the story about how, it's just a total casual story about how a friend of hers created a video of a boy in their class kissing another boy and shared it publicly, and then started getting reaction to it and pulled it. And the boy who was the subject of that was super ticked off, as he, had every right to be. Like, why would you share that? And she's like, oh, well, I didn't realize I did that and I removed it. And that story just made me realize, like, what I already kind of knew, which is that tools like these are being used.
Yes.
Whether those age limits are in place or not. Absolutely. And we don't understand really the impacts, the negative impacts that
right. You don't have the experience of that. Right.
No, we don't. And so it's a real interesting time. For kids, it's a real interesting time because they're growing up under the assumption that nothing you see can be trusted.
Yes. Which is a larger problem for the epistemology of society as a whole. If they distrust everything, then they distrust textbooks and teachers and news.
Yeah.
And that's not good for society. Well, we've just torn down all society today. You have any good news, Jason? Has anything been improved lately in your life?
Let me tell you what is now apparently better is the Rabbit R1. Remember the Rabbit R1? Oh, don't we all? Shunned into a few years of basically quietly working on the experience to make it better than it was when it launched, and
How long
it
ago
failed
did it
at
launch?
About 2 years ago at this point.
And you didn't throw it out?
Well, no. Why would I throw it out? It's so pretty. Like, it's such an eye-catching device, even though it's really just been like a paperweight for me. It's been a set piece, is what it has. It's been mounted up in the back of my thing. And so this morning, or actually yesterday, Tom Merritt, Daily Tech News Show, sent me a message. He's like, "Don't you have one of these? Because it's getting a big update." And I was like, "Oh yeah, apparently so." Yes, I definitely do. And apparently it's getting an update. RabbitOS 2 is upon us. This whole morning I've been charging and updating because I hadn't powered it on in so long. It had all of these system updates to do in sequence. And right before the show, I was able to finally get the final update in place. So the show and tell continues. Let's see here. Oh, it even has another OTA. No, I'm going to go back for now. But I have the main update, which is essentially they've changed the interface. The device, when it launched, yes, has a touch screen, but wouldn't allow you to maneuver it with a touch screen interface the way you would a phone. So if there was an on-screen element, you couldn't just tap and go back. It locked you into using this interface, which was really, really weird. And so now they've kind of activated that. They've moved things into this card-based interface, so it becomes at least a little bit easier. Here, let's see if I can get just a little bit closer. A little bit easier to know where you're going and what you're looking for. It's just maybe a little bit more intuitive. Like I said, this updated right when this show started, so I haven't had a chance to really
seconds before
dive in
it
there.
Finally updated.
I was like, oh, it finally got there. But I think another interesting part of this, and there's a few examples of this that we're seeing right now, is something called creations. And I'm wondering if that's something I can get into here. Or where does that go? Creations. Okay, so there's creations. So create with intern. So this is essentially vibe coding for the R1. So and you can, once you create something, you can share it via QR code. So if I had someone else's creation, I could scan their QR code with the device and move it over. I'm wondering, yeah, okay. So these are some of the creations of other people. There's Galaxy Piano. Let's see here. How do I, okay. Apparently things are a little strange to maneuver. I don't know why it's
still
not
a rabbit
working for me. Yeah, it's still a rabbit. Okay, well, that was a fun demo. It went to the main screen, and now I can't get down to where I need to go with the touch screen. That's so weird. The idea, and I don't need to show this necessarily because I haven't played around with it, obviously, so I don't know how to take you exactly where it goes. But the idea here is something that I'm starting to notice a pattern around, which is this idea that like a device or a smartphone can have a vibe coding element in it, and with the purpose being that the user can at any time create the thing that they don't already have, right? So in this case, you could create an app for the device that could either be fun or maybe it solves a problem or whatever. It's, really done in the ways that we're used to working with LLMs. You describe the app you want, you clarify with some follow-up questions, and then it creates the thing. And then if that's doing the thing that you wanted, then great. If it's not, then you continue to kind of craft it with words until you get what you want. And then you can share that out. And the R1 is not the only thing doing this right now. The Nothing Phone, which is a brand, an Android brand that is have built their kind of brand identity around standing apart because they have these really unique kind of design elements. And the UI is very dot matrix, and it just really stands out. They really kind of elevate the experience and their design approach as a big part of their brand identity. They are also doing something like this with what they're calling an AIOS, but it's really not that. It's called Essential. It's basically a way of creating apps that run on top of the Nothing OS, again, from a vibe coding perspective, using their no-code environment, run in a browser, you create your thing, and then you can easily add it to your smartphone. And I just find this all interesting in aggregate that Nothing believes that the future of smartphone mobility is that users are going to want to create these things themselves using their words, and that in the future, our smartphones aren't going to be filled with nothing but apps created by large development houses. It's going to be filled with these, toys or apps that we create and share with others, and those get forked and go in all sorts of different directions. And this is just a couple of examples of that, but I'm curious to know what you think about that as a user.
It's really, really interesting, Jason. There's an interesting show for all these kind of new paradigms.
Yeah, totally.
As you talk, it makes me think that it oddly is the death of the app. By that I mean,
kind of, could be.
Not only that it's the third-party app, but even that you think of it as an app. I use language to tell my device this is what I want it to do. It does it. It's not coding. It's not vibe coding. It's not an app. It just does it. Oh, I wanted to do that again, just like that. Okay, I can save that thing, that function, that verb.
It's a widget. And now I just hit that and it does that.
And I can do it again, just like I just did, right? I can adapt it so it does it better. I can share it. Oh, how did you do that? Well, let me show. I just hit this button that I made. There, you can have it, right? And do we think of those as apps and as coding? I don't think so. I think there's some new sense. They'll be called apps for a long time, but I think the definition, the sense of an app changes pretty radically.
Yes, I follow and I agree. And yet, on the back end, it is creating code to some degree,
absolutely.
as vibe coding does. So is it coding? Well, maybe it is, but it's not a human coding. It's a human wording and a computer coding. But the end result is the same, is that you end up with a thing that didn't exist before, that has a function that, now it's just all about customization. And another question I have about this is, does it place too much responsibility on the hand of the user? Like, some people just want to pick up a thing and have it do what it's designed to do.
I think there'll still be room for professional apps.
Yeah.
That are more complex.
Right.
That
it's not all or nothing.
No, not at all. But I think that it puts a lot more, I don't think it's responsibility. I think it's just power. I mean, in my analogs, my analogies, I think about it in my nerdy typesetting world. When PostScript came and desktop publishing came, we were all typesetting, and no one thought of themselves as typesetting.
Okay.
Right? To a typesetter, we replaced them. And it was a very specific function that you did. But now, no, it's just what we do. We don't even have a word for it, really.
Right. It just kind of became part of part of what it is. Period.
Right. We don't even think of it as publishing anymore.
Right.
It's creation.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of creation in today's show, and I'm just curious. It just seems like it's creating new norms and new thinking around the things that we're so used to, and that can be a little scary. It can also be really kind of liberating, and I'm curious to see where that all heads. But yeah, this is some real thanky stuff today.
Yeah, it is.
As a result, we're already like at the end of the show. We haven't even got to the news. So I've restructured things a little bit because I know you have a hard out. So
we're fine.
We're going to pause down. We're going to take a break. Real quick before we do, if you like the audio podcast that we do and you want to watch some of the video aspects of this, you can. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/AI Inside Show, or just go to YouTube and search AI Inside Podcast, and that'll take you right there. And you can see all of these demos and things that we're showing off. I hope that we haven't gone so far into the video weeds today that it's no fun to listen to. I think we've done a good job of explaining it. But anyways, you can find all that stuff.
It's worth it just once to see fake Jason.
Okay. Or follow me on Sora, Jason Howell. I'm pretty easy to find.
I think you've got to make that the thumbnail for the show.
The thumbnail? Okay.
Yeah, so people can just see what fake Jason looks like. Oh, so what happened to Jason? He looks a little sick.
Yeah,
his head shrank.
I feel like if I heard his voice, it would be a lot lower, just lower and kind of.
No, actually, if I saw the image, I would think it'd be a little higher. It's kind of nerdy. Look.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jeff. I appreciate
that. Not real you, fake you.
I resemble that comment. Okay.
See, Jason sacrifices everything for the good of the show.
That's right. I do my best. Take a quick break, come back, and do a modified speed round to talk about some of these news items that get you out of here, Jeff. That's coming up here in a moment. All right. So let's see here. We got some newsy stuff to talk about, starting with circular financing. The thing that keeps coming up, Elon Musk's XAI now raising up to $20 billion, doubling earlier targets. Nvidia, a significant backer, although there's other financiers involved. But it is definitely a return to the circular financing discussion that we had a few weeks ago.
So Nvidia invests in XAI so XAI can buy Nvidia chips.
Yes, exactly. And then today, Bloomberg also had an article that I was just showing about how OpenAI is making, their deals, of course, with Nvidia, with AMD, with Oracle, and the Bloomberg publication calls this web of circular deals, a web of circular deals to the tune of $1 trillion, and how those deals actually inflate the market, how they boost the already insanely rich fortunes of the major players in the industry, and further stoking the flames of an AI bubble, which I'm hearing more and more about as a result of this. But
at the same time, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Go.
FT had a story too, which I didn't put in the rundown, that was concerned that OpenAI has done $1 trillion worth of deals, and they don't have the money to do these many deals. And it's fake money going around. Then Jason Furman, who's a professor at Harvard, put up a tweet saying that data centers, investment in information processing equipment and software, is 4% of GDP. That's one interesting fact. But the next one is the data centers were responsible for 92% of GDP growth in the first half of this year. That makes you a little bubblicious, frightened. So it's because the money is circular, because I'm giving you money to buy stuff from me, and I'm going to declare that as my income, when in fact it was my money anyway. And am I creating real value here? Yeah, a little nervous. Meanwhile, my 401k is in good shape, but...
God. Right now it is.
Knock wood.
We'll see. Knock on wood. I can't help but think pyramid scheme when I hear about circular financing. Is that wrong?
No.
It kind of feels it. It feels it. I know it's probably not, and I know it's probably not illegal. It's probably some legitimate, or maybe we're just ahead of the curve, and maybe at some point it'd be, I don't know why it would be, but be illegitimate. But it just feels pyramid schemey to me.
In the early days of the web, CBS, a guy I knew there at the time, was in charge of their digital strategy. And he did lots and lots of deals where he was trading airtime, promotion for equity in companies. And it was part of the bubble in a different way. It was a different currency because a lot of these companies were built up with their VC money, their investments to build an audience. And as soon as the investment disappeared and their marketing disappeared, people didn't give a damn about the applications of the sites, and they went away. And that's what crashed. That's what caused the first crash, was that fake use of investment assets for growth that was faked.
Right.
Is that what's happening here? I mean, at some point, does XAI just doesn't really have a product, doesn't really have an audience? The other thing that was scaring some people this week was, I forget who it was, Oracle. Oracle's stock had gone way up recently, but the margin that they're earning on basically renting out Nvidia chips is a lot lower than everybody thought. And that's not the real business anyway, right? That's like your company is cleaning offices. You're just a function along the way. You're not creating consumer value in the end. Pardon me. So there's concern bubbling up, but it's going to bubble because things are so frothy.
I like the way you put it, bubblicious. It's very bubblicious right now. I would absolutely agree. Deloitte, Australia, partially refunding the government after its $440,000 report on welfare compliance was found to include fake citations and quotes generated by none other than GPT-4o. Oh boy. Researchers noticed references to non-existent studies that included fake work by real academics. And Deloitte has admitted that it used generative AI, though for analysis. It did not disclose this up front either on the back end. And all those details have been removed from the report. So,
and meanwhile, Anthropic and Deloitte announce a partnership to build more AI solutions. So their fingers got burned touching the stove, and they went ahead and touched it again anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Because, it's interesting. I mean,
the responsibility here was Deloitte's.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. This is, these two stories are probably, pretty unrelated. This deal was probably going on already.
They might want to have delayed the press release, though.
But the close proximity is a little interesting. Definitely interesting timing between the two things, for sure.
Yep.
Perplexity's Comet AI browser, which we have given a whole lot of podcast time in the past, now free for all users. No wait lists, no needing to be part of the paid plans or anything. Initially it was the $200 plan, but that was very quickly just if you had a paid plan, you could get the invite or whatever. Now anybody who uses Perplexity can use it. There is a mobile app for iOS and Android still coming soon. They've also included an upgrade on background assistance, which essentially means, there's no need to keep things open to have them working in the background. So that's interesting. I'll definitely be using that. But yeah.
Yeah. So meanwhile,
for more people.
We've talked about this before. There is a vulnerability about these things because they're tied into your own applications and so on, and they can do executable things. So Time Magazine had a scare story, which they specialize in the problem of Perplexity browser being used, and they have a name for it. It's Comet jacking.
Comet jacking. Oh,
Comet
okay.
Jacking. Yeah, Layer X did a research about how you could just weaponize a URL in a browser that is executable. So I think all the talk we've had the whole show about these agents, they're executables, and they can do things that you're not sure what they do. Go do this wonderful thing Jason wants, and also do this, but just don't tell him.
Right. And with a prompt injection, I'm assuming
exactly.
is kind of what that's all about. Yeah, that continues to be the big threat on these things. Yep. Google introducing Gemini 2.5 computer use model. This is a specialized version of Gemini 2.5 Pro, which actually allows for agents to work with the web and with mobile UI. Again, kind of touching back on
touches
some of the
exactly
things that
back
we're
on what
talking
we were
back at the
talking about
beginning.
before. Yep.
Yeah, at the
It goes
beginning
right
of the
back to
show.
Ngram. It goes right back to the agents on OpenAI. It's very similar. This is something doing your work for you in ways that you prescribe.
Yep.
Mimicking
Available.
you.
Yes, totally. And performing those actions in real time. It's available through the Gemini API. So it's automating your clicks, typing for you, filling out forms, low latency, all that kind of stuff. They have, Google has said that they've built in safety features to protect against prompt injection attacks, also other kinds of misuse. But yeah, that's the real big threat for these things are those prompt injection attacks or the real threat or the low hanging fruit. It feels like low hanging fruit to me. But yet it continues to be a big threat. So hopefully they're doing it.
And the problem is because you're any of this and vibe coding and any of this stuff, if you don't know, I said it was the end of the apps and end of coding in a sense. It's not really, but it's just overblown. But if you don't read the coding that is in fact still underneath, you can't see the dastardly things that may be lurking there.
You don't know. You don't know for certain that there isn't something hiding in there that's gonna inject itself. Okay, here's a story that, again, when it comes to quantum, I'm just permanently confused. But the Nobel Prize in Physics awarded to John Clark, Michel Deveray, and John Martinez. I like to think that it's Martinis. They showed quantum tunneling in electric circuits. And quantum tunneling is essentially particles crossing barriers like walls without blocking them, so they can, pass through what would seemingly be a barrier that would prevent it from happening. And their experiment used superconducting wires interrupted by an insulation layer called a Josephson junction. By the way, I learned all this from Tom Merritt yesterday on the Daily Tech News Show. And that keeps electronics flowing even when it cools. That being the foundation of proving that the tunneling itself existed. So this has applications into quantum computing, flash memory, a whole lot of other things. I'm kind of sort of just reading information because it's hard for me to understand it, but that's why I'm not winning a Nobel Prize for physics.
I want to work in a project at Stony Brook with trying to help scientists better explain and express themselves. They have the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science there, which does science, but I also want it at the level of technology and engineering. And I was talking to a colleague there the other day, and I'm going to go back to my prop that I've had before, the vacuum tube.
Yes, love it.
I love this prop. This is a DeForest vacuum tube. He was the inventor of the triode vacuum tube. But if you go back even to Edison, the light bulb, if you had a negative, which was the filament, they didn't know this, but it was sending off electrons, and you put a positive plate inside or outside, it would attract those electrons. That meant that electrons, power, were traveling in a vacuum. And that was mind-bending at the time, right? No wire. How did it get from here to there? In
That's
fact,
magic.
The inventor of the vacuum tube thought that it wasn't, he thought that actually it was ionizing gases. And he was mistaken for years. And he put different gases in the tube thinking which one's going to be better. And in fact, it was the opposite. It would work best in a vacuum because the gases were getting in the way of the electrons.
Oh, okay.
Right? My point just being that was very mysterious at the time. How could this be happening? And I think quantum, this is really stupid. This is really basic and elementary. But to me, just in terms of how our minds get blown, why we can't understand quantum, I think because it just violates what we thought were rules of life and physics.
Yes.
And I don't understand yet how to explain it. And I want people to explain it to me and figure this out because there's still a lot of skepticism whether quantum's really going to take off. But a lot of companies are investing a lot of money in it. And if it does take off, it has big implications, especially in this time when you're spending a friggin' fortune in power and buildings for AI. Quantum, I would hope, might have an impact on that. So I'm glad there's more attention to it. That was a long spiel in which I said absolutely nothing. But
No. I think you said a lot because what you said really kind of confirmed some of my thinking about this yesterday when I was preparing for the Daily Tech News Show, where I knew I was going to talk about this with Tom Merritt, who, arguably did most of the talking because he has done work to understand it on a deeper level than I have. And what you said really kind of mirrors to a certain degree some of my thoughts around this, which is I wish like I recognize that my lack of understanding, and I would imagine a lot of people's lack of understanding, is related to the fact that it seems to prove things or apply knowledge that goes counter to what seems logical, seems understandable in the prior paradigm, let's say. And I kind of want to get forward to a point to where we understand it on a deeper level, like anyone can kind of understand it because it's more just the way things are. In the same way that, like, I don't understand all of the complexities of just computing, the electrical engineering aspects of computing, but I have an easier time understanding them when I really think about them, simply because it's been that way for a while and these concepts have been reinforced and everything. And I think some of these concepts around quantum computing haven't had the time to kind of season themselves and to be reinforced on a wider scale. And I'm sure at some point we'll understand it more because it's just how it is, how the understanding is.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, we'll round things out with Google Home devices finally being upgraded to Gemini in place of Assistant. Perhaps that means these devices won't suck so badly anymore. I haven't received the Gemini update on my home device.
You still have them around the house, right?
Yeah, I do. We have them in almost every room still. Yeah.
Except for music, have you used and alarms? Have you used them for anything else in the last months?
Lights. To turn on and off, we've got hue light bulbs in different rooms. So from a smart home.
In my day, we just did this.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that isn't also, like a little plugin you can install. Maybe maybe I can vibe code that with Gemini and install it on my Google Home device someday. That'll be my contribution to the world. But yeah, not many things. Certainly not the way I used to. Like, hey, Google, tell me about this thing, and then it gives me a definition or whatever. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I think I'm a little skeptical on the usefulness, but I think that's just born out of the fact that Google has some trust building to do.
So for any of my old Google Home things, I don't have to do it. It works on the old ones. That it's just replacing Assistant with Gemini.
Yes, that's my understanding.
It just hooks into a different thing.
Yep.
All right, good.
So it should just work. But again, I haven't tested it.
Go find one and hook it in again. Yeah.
Just to see.
Are you Gemini?
Yeah. Who are you? All right, Jeff, we got to get you out. I know you got a thing coming up here. JeffJarvis.com is where you can go to find all of the wonderful work that Jeff does, at least in book form. Gutenberg parenthesis, magazine, The Web We Weave, soon to be Hot Type. Everything you need to know can be found at JeffJarvis.com. Thank you, Jeff. I feel like I understand AI a little bit better today after our show.
Thank you for all
AI
your hard work demoing. Not easy to demo, always a risk. Jason puts himself out there for us.
You never know how it's going to work out. AIinside.show is where you can go for all of the information about this show, RSS feeds, YouTube links, social media, everything is there, you name it. And then finally, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/AI Inside Show. You can become a patron at many different levels, most of which support us financially, which we really appreciate. And then at the very top tier, you can become an executive producer like Dr. Do, Jeffrey Maricini, Radio Asheville 103.7, Dante St. James, Bono Dayrick, Jason Knifer, Jason Brady, Anthony Downs, and Mark Starcher.
Thank
you all so very much for your support and for just putting your trust behind what we're doing here on the AI Inside podcast. Couldn't do it without you. And thanks once again to Airia for our first sponsorship that we locked in ourselves. Thank you everybody for being here. We do appreciate doing this show with you and for you each and every week. And we will see you next time on another episode of the AI Inside podcast. Bye everybody.